Okay, guys. Okay. So yesterday we left um our session over at user instruction. All right. So I'm going to show us users instruction. Okay. Before I go ahead, I need to apologize for the shifts in time. Yeah, apologies, guys. All right. So we left our session somewhere yesterday, which was user. So what we were trying to actualize yesterday was we were trying to create a user. All right. Now we told us earlier that when you build a Docker file, all right, the Docker file uses the root account by default, okay, to perform all of the Docker instructions in the Docker file. All right. Now, but for best practices, right, it is recommended that after building everything with the root user, all right, it is advisable that you switch to an ordinary user to finish up with the building of the creation of the Docker file. So that was what we were trying to achieve all through yesterday. All right, all through yesterday. And that command I was trying to run actually was the correct command. Now, this is it, guys. This command, it's actually it. All right. So I don't know why. It is not taking it. It's not taking it in the Docker file. But let me copy this. I tried it somewhere. I'm outside. I'm in my own base machine. All right. So if I paste this guy, so let's try that and see. All right, permission denied. So let me say sudo and yeah. Okay, do add user. So let me say sudo for users in Edo, all right? For users in PK, all right? For users in PK, for loop. Okay, let me use root, please. For users in PK, right? Do user add. Do user add dollar users, all right? Enter. Now echo the password. 12 is my password. I pipe it. Pass WD followed by the user. Dollar users dash standard input, then done. So you can see changing password for user PK. Now this command, what this command is doing is actually creating this user. Now for users in, you have to specify the number of users, PK, KK, TK, Toby, as the case may be, all right? Do user add, all right? User add is the user add command. Then these users are saved. This keyword users is a variable, and every name that you define here is saved inside of users. Now let's try to see how we can create multiple users other than just PK. Let me say for the variable users. So users is variable. For users in KK space, CK space, TK space, Tom space, Harry. For these number of users, do user add $users, then echo their password as 12, then pipe it, pass WD, $users. Standard input. Now, standard input because I want the password to be assigned on the terminal. That's why I'm using what? Standard input, then done. So if I hit enter, it's going to create password for all of these users. It's going to create all of these users. Now let's check. If I check my home directory, I should see these users: Harry, KK, PK, TK, and Tom. Similarly, if I need to delete all of those users, I'll say for users in KK, CK, TK, Tom, Harry. All right. Now do user del. Do user del. I also need to delete their home directory recursively. -r dollar the variable name users. All right. And done. I just want to delete everything. All right. Done. So if I hit enter, this has deleted everybody. So if I check my home, you will see that you don't have any other guy. So this is a handy way of performing such attacks, right? Of automating the creation of users and giving them their password. So we want to create a user in our Docker file. So where's our first command that we use? For user in, let's take this guy. But now since copy, let me add, okay, we have add user here. Vim Dockerfile. Oh, it's not here, sorry. Vim Dockerfile. So now we need to do a run at this level. So let's paste that command here. Here it is. Now for user in Toby, so this is what we're going to do. For user in Toby, all right, do add user, because user add on Ubuntu, user add on Ubuntu will not create the user's home directory. So it's always best that we use add user, right? Okay, for users in Toby, do user add, you do add user, $users, echo the password, done. All right, now we need to switch to that user. To switch to that user, you're going to use what? The user instruction. I'll delete this line. We don't want this line. So yeah, so let's build the image and see what happens. I'll save it. So I'll say docker build -t Apache img version 1 dot. So let's see what happens. All right, so I'm having this kind of error. We're having an error. It's not accepting that stuff. Report password status on all accounts. Delete password. Pass WD. Password unrecognized option. Standard inputs. Usage. Pass WD. Pass WD. All right, let me use user add. Let me go into that file. User add. All right. So user add. Escape. Save and quit. Now let's rerun it. We're still having that same error. Hmm. Hmm. Well, let me try something. Let me try to look for this error. Copy. Let's come to Google. Okay, I think we are seeing something on Debian machines. Alternative to password standard in Ubuntu. Let's check. Let's check. Let's check. It's like I'm seeing something, guys. Okay, passwd on Ubuntu no longer supports the standard in option. In the past, I have used passwd command in script to set a default password for new user accounts. Let's check this. I think we are getting somewhere. Okay, I think we are getting somewhere. Standard in is no longer supported. Let me check from this. Standard in passwd. Will you kindly show your script? Okay, for standard in using, you must use OpenSSL passwd. Man of business. Use ordinary. Okay, they are saying we should use ordinary passwd. Let me try it and see. Let me try that and see if it will fly without putting standard in. Let me remove the standard in. Copy. Let me remove standard in. So I'm going to remove standard in from here. Okay, save and quit. Now let's rerun the command, docker build. Password unchanged. User change has been aborted. All right, let me look for the alternative because we need that standard in a portal to portal. Okay, password is standard in. Okay, okay. Using the password command from within a shell script. Oh, change password. Okay, chpasswd. Okay, the user column, the password. Okay. So guys, I've seen something as an alternative. Let's try it and see. All right, so they said echo. All right, let me also paste this line. Now, this is what they said. They said echo the user. The user now is Toby. All right. So user is Toby. Dollar users column with the password. The password is 12. Then the command is change password, change passwd. So the command is change passwd. So let's try this and see. And then say done. Let's see. Now let's try to run this thing and see something. What happens? Wow. So guys, I used user add here, but remember on Ubuntu, you need to use add user. All right, you need to use add user. So let's change it. So if I need to go back to the file, let me change it to add user instead. Add user instead. Add user. So you see how I'm trying to troubleshoot, all right? I had to pick the error message and Google the error message. It's working for me, guys. So we successfully switched to what? The Toby user, all right? We switched to the Toby user. And yeah, so it's working. So if I try to inspect, Docker inspects the image name. The image name is Apache IMG version 1. So let's look for the user. Let's look for the user. Let me grep for user. Grep for user. Now I can see the section that says about user. Let me go to the top. Let's still check for it. We're going to see that user section. If you see it, now the user is what? Toby. All right. Great. User Toby. Right. User Toby. So guys, we are good now. So with this now, I can now build my image. All right. Time zone. Oh, don't change. This is October 29th. Okay, now Nigeria go there ahead of UK by 1 hour. Sheriff, I get you. So time don't change. So you adjust your time. All right. Article for those of now the UK. So now should be 7 p.m. your UK time. Now should be 7 p.m. All right. The clock has changed. Clock has changed. So all right, that's okay. But please just recalculate. So your class will be 6 p.m. right? 6 p.m. UK time and 7 p.m. Nigerian time. All right, guys. No wala. Now, we have created our Docker file. Let's go back into it. Now, let me remove all this excess. Remember, yesterday or even earlier today, we were trying to use standard in. Now, standard in, but I keep getting error. What was that error? Let me show us that error one more time. Where was the error? This is the error. It's saying that pass WD unrecognized option -- standard in. So not on I just copied the entire error and pasted on Google. Right? Guys, this is how you search for problems. This is how you troubleshoot. Don't just copy the error, copy everything about the error and paste it in Google. You will see a solution. If you don't see a solution, copy that same error, go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, guys. So we need to start incorporating all of these tools into our troubleshooting. How is it taking time to open now? ChatGPT. Open a Ogbeni. All right, so we'll wait when this guy open. All right. So I now pasted that error. So I was seeing alternative to pass WD standard in. All right. So the alternative now is this that I did here. All right. Let's look at the alternative. So let's open the file. Or ChatGPT is up now. So I'll copy that error. Yeah. This is the error. I'll paste it. Let's go back to our guide. Now open the Docker file. Now this is what I changed. I changed the standard in to what? To this option. They said we should use what? The user column the password, followed by change pass WD. Right? Change pass WD is a command also that is used to change user's password. Right? So if I come here and I have these users, what do I have here? I have PK as a user. So you can say change pass WD PK. Okay, sudo that. So to ask for that guy password to be changed. Cannot lock pass WD. So why is it taking time? Missing. Okay. 1 2 1 2. Why is it taking time now? All right, let's continue. Let's continue. So change pass WD uses pass WD, right? It calls pass WD. Now let's see what's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is still, it's taking time. From error network. This thing now, network problem. So let's go back to what's the solution that we came up with. All right. So we had to change all of these lines into what? This line. All right. Look at it. We change echo the user column, the password, pipe it to what? Change password, then done. So I'll be deleting these two other lines. Delete this and delete this. So I think we are good, guys. Then at this level, you switch to that created user. All right. Now out of this image, I want to create a container. Right. So now say, have I built it? Let me build it again. Docker build -t Apache img v1 dot. Okay, now you can see what ChatGPT is giving us. Now let's read. The error message pass unrecognized this thing typically occurs when you are trying to use the pass WD command with standard input option, but your system's version of pass WD does not support this option. You see what's happening? My system version of pass WD does not support that option. Now the standard input option allows you to provide a new password via standard inputs rather than entering it directly on the command line. However, not all versions of the passwd command support this option. If you are trying to change a user's password non-interactively means without human intervention, right? Using a script or a command pipeline, and your passwd command does not support the standard input option, you can use tools like chpasswd or echo along with a pipe to achieve the same results. Here's how you can use echo and a pipe to change a user's password non-interactively. Now, this is what this guy gave to us. Now, echo the username, the password, then chpasswd. All right, you can see. Replace username with the actual username of the user whose password you want to change, and new password with the desired new password. All right. Please note that using these commands requires appropriate privileges, typically root or sudo access, to change another user's password. You see the OGs, guys. So that is it. All right. Take note. So we have created this image. Now let's create a container out of what? The image. So I'll say what? Docker run. Now yesterday we were trying to do something. The thing is, I don't want to create this I don't want to create this container, all right, and leave it. Now, what I want to do is I want to create this container, and at the same time, this container should automatically delete by itself. Immediately I exit from the container. Immediately I type exit, the container should exit and delete from my machine. So it means that I don't want to create this container on my base machine. I want to use it just temporarily, to create the container temporarily. The moment I exit from the container should delete itself. All right. So here's the command. So Docker run --rm. --rm means remove. Now the container name is Apache Con. Then the image is Apache img version 1. So let's see what happens. Oh, their container still the rm-f Apache Con. All right, deleted. All right, so let's rerun it again. I'm still having this error. I'm still having this error. All right, let me create it naturally. Why am I having this error? Docker run -d --name Apache Con --, the image is Apache img version 1. Docker ps. All right, we are having this challenge. The error is coming from that password that we did. That username. Okay, permission denied. Could not create. Oh, I've seen it. Okay. So this is where the error is coming from. All right, because we have switched to this user, and this user does not have the rights. Okay, I see. So at this juncture, oh Lord, let's use a normal operating system for this task. All right, because I wanted to show us something, which I did a part yesterday. Wait, I will show us why this error is coming now, because I'm switching user now. Look at now. Now let me delete the container. Docker rm Apache Con -f. Now let's rebuild that image now. Docker build -t Apache img v1 dot. All right, this has been rebuilt. This is when value. It has been rebuilt. All right. Now let's try to create a container out of this guy. Now I'll show us why that error is coming. Now, Docker run this. All right. Great. So Docker ps now, the container should be up and running. So the container is running. You can see now, because we switched to that user instead of the image, right? And this user does not have the rights. To to run that command. All right. They don't have the right to run that command. That's why we are having this error. Where is that error? That's why we are having. Where is that error? That's why we are having this error. Could not log PID. Permission denied. All right. Could not create this this file. So that user does not have the rights to create this file. It is only root that has the rights to create this file. All right, great. So let's just finish with all of the instructions. Once we are through with all of the instructions, then we can now start practicing. All right. Okay. So so this was the user instruction, and this is how you use the user instruction in a Docker file. Well, I'm going to perfect it in the sense that I'm going to use another image, right? Then we are going to perfect it. I'm going to perfect it, right? All right. We shall look at that error. We shall look at the error and we'll Google it. But let's finish with the instructions because we were working on the different instructions that could be used in a Docker file. All right, great. So the next instruction will be the next instruction will tell user bam 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 bam. So we have expose. 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 Expose is not actually recommended, it's not actually required, right? But it's optional. Optional. I'm going to tell us what expose is used for. Now, this instruction is used to expose the application or container to an external port, to a port, to a port via through which, to a port through which the container can communicate. Now, when you need to make your application to be available on a certain port, okay? Now, let's come down. When you need to make your container to be available on a certain port number, all right? You will make use of, you should make use of, undo. You should make use of the expose instruction. All right. Now, here's the syntax. Syntax is expose space port number. Example. Expose space 80 or 443 or 8080. Let me do like this. These are all them. All these or expose. Right? So these are ways you can expose your container, right, to a certain port, right? To a certain port. Okay, certain port. So let's see how it's being used in a Docker file. So I'll go into my Docker file. So below here, I'll just say expose within port 80. All right, you save and quit. Now, if we build this image, Docker build -t Apache img v1 dot. So let's check that part. So fine. Now I can now do a Docker inspect to look at the content of the image. Inspect image name, Apache img v1. Let's check. So I won't see like this. So I'll say grep -I expose. You can see exposed port 80, exposed port. So if I scroll, let's check for that expose. If I scroll, you can see it now. Command expose port 80. So it means that my container is going to talk on port 80. Anything other than 80 is going to throw up an error. All right. So this is the expose we are talking about. All right. Great. So what other instruction do we have again? All right, so we have cmd and entry points. I think that's almost the last. Let's go back to our Docker file. Sorry, let's go back to our whiteboard. Now we have what? Entry point. So entry point is either entry point or cmd. All right. So entry point is should we say is optional, because you could use entry point or you could use what? CMD, but it is required. All right. It is required, but you can use either one. You can't use entry points and CMD at the same time in the same Docker file. All right. I've never seen a situation where they use the both. It's only one. So this instruction is used to create a process in an image. When you need to create a process in an image, so that when the image is used to create a container, the container will not exit. The container will not exit, because if your container does not have a running process, that container is going to exit each time you try to create it. Okay, so it is recommended, right? You create a process in your container. We saw it when we tried to create then we try to create the operating system container, that Ubuntu that we created. It exited because there was no running process inside of the image. So we had to manually create that. All right. So I'm going to do proper example, then I will show us that part as well. So this instruction is used to create a process in an image. So anything that could cause a process, all right? Anything that could cause a process. For instance, now let me show us an example. If I do like this, if I say tail -f /dev/null. Now, this thing now has created an open socket. There's a command running in the foreground. There's a command running in the background. There's a command running in the background that has done what? That has taken ownership of my terminal. So it means I can't do anything as it is now. There's no meaningful things I'm doing here, because there's a process currently active. There's a process currently active. Now, if I will show us this process now. If I try to log on to my to this same machine, on another terminal. Let's check. On this terminal, so I will see, we're going to see the name of that process. So let me log in. Now, let me say ps-aux. Now, look at this guy. It's like, is this guy that is causing that guy? Dev no, tail dev no. I'm going to catch that guy now. Now, look at it now. Tail dev non command is a process. We have created a process. You can see. And that process was run by what? The EC2 user. Look at it now. Tail space -f /dev/none. So this guy has created what? An open process. So this guy will be there until I kill it. So if I say Control C now has killed this process. If I check ps-aux again, I won't see that tail again because that guy has been terminated, right? So this is a similar way you could, right, create a running process in what? In an image. So let's go there and see. So I'll open my Docker file. Now I'll say entry points. Entry points. Okay, let me first of all. So where's our whiteboard? This instruction is used to create a process in an image. So let's talk about this guy. Now, syntax. Syntax. So syntax is entry point. Entry point, I would say the value. Most times you put your entry points inside of a square bracket, all right? Sometimes you leave it empty. So let's try both ways. So I'll say tail -f /dev/null, right? Or sometimes I could just remove that double quote. But that's okay, sure. That's okay. Now, this is one form. Let me copy the other form. Copy. The next form will be without braces. Sorry, without square brackets. Right? This will also catch. Right? Now, this the option, sorry, syntax. Syntax option. Process option or entry point option. Entry point option. Okay, so here's the option. So this should be example. Example, we have this. So to implement this in a Docker file, we'll come here and say what? Entry point. We'll give it all those stuffs. So give it like this. So it's complaining. So we need to put it in a square break. We need to put it in a double quote. So I'll say this quote and that quote. All right. So it's fine like this now. So please keep it like this. So escape, save and quit. All right. So if you want to use it, you now say Docker build, I hope we don't have error, -t, because there's already a process in the Apache image. -t Apache img v1 dot. So let's see. Okay, it was successful. So if you now also check Docker inspect the image Apache img version, the tag, version v1. We'll grep it. Let's grep for entry points. So we have entry point already. So this is the entry point. All right. So let's check for it without the grep, without grep. So just inspect. So let's go to the top, top. You can see this is my entry point, right? tail-f/dev/none. So this guy is going to create a running process in that image, right? There will be a very active process in what? In the image, entry points, all right? Great. So the last but not the least common, these are common instructions that you will always use. You will always use in building Docker images. The last one will be CMD. Same way as entry points, required, right? But optional. Control B. Required, but or optional. And optional. Yes. And or optional. One sec, guys. One sec. So the same way, all right, we did for entry points is the same pattern with CMD. So what is this instruction used for? So this instruction is used to create the same thing. It does the same thing as what? As entry points. To create a process in an image. Now, but there's a difference between entry point and CMD. Let's check for the Google, or let's use ChatGPT. What's the difference between CMD and entry point as used in Docker? Let's check what ChatGPT has to say. I don't know. Is this maybe now this thing they dull this thing? No, I don't know why I think they dull like this. Why they dull like this? You take time. You dull. Let me use that one. I go run fast. And same $missing, no, $missing 50 ml. You give me $missing 50 ml. All right. So let's ChatGPT is going to give us, but let's use Google. Now look at this now. Because CMD and entry point works in tandem. It works the same way. They can often be confusing to understand. They work the same way. But they can also be confusing. However, they have different effects and exist to increase your image flexibility. Entry point sets the process to run, while CMD supplies default arguments to that process. Entry point sets the process to run. But let's look for more elaborate. I think ChatGPT should be fine now. All right, let's look at now. Let's see. The CMD instruction sets the default command. Okay, it sets the default command and all parameters for an executing container. It can be overridden at runtime when you run the container. If a Docker file has multiple CMD instructions, only the last one takes effect. The syntax for CMD is as follows: executable, parameter 1, parameter 2. Okay. Now, CMD sets the default command as set by Google. CMD sets what? The default command to the process. Now let's check here again. Now let's look at executable is a command to run when the container starts, right? It's a command to run when the container starts. But these commands create process in what? In the running container. Okay. Now look at this example. Nginx -g daemon off. This is a command, right? Now, entry points. The entry point instruction allows you to configure a container that will run as an executable, as a script. It provides a command that will always be executed when the container starts. And any command line arguments passed to Docker run will be appended to the entry points command. The syntax for entry point is this. It's similar to what CMD. That's what they said. And let's read at this line. Unlike CMD, guys, listen. The entry point instruction does not get overridden when you provide a command at runtime. Okay. Instead, the runtime command and its arguments are appended to the entry point instruction. You can see now, same thing, similar thing, but it's just this difference that says entry points set the process to run, while CMD set the default command. CMD can be overridden, all right, at runtime, but entry points cannot be overridden. Let me write this thing, guys, because I've been in an interview where I was asked the difference between CMD and entry points. CMD sets the default command to be executed, while entry points sets, let's check that again. Set the what? Set the process to run. Set the process to be run. Sets the process to be run by the container. To be run in the container or by the container, by the container. CMD can be overridden at container runtime, while entry points cannot be overridden at what? Container runtime. So these are the two major differences. It will give you maximum point, guys. Right? It's going to give you what? Maximum point. Now let's open our Docker file. Now, similar thing, all you need to do is just to change CMD. The same command, the same thing. But their difference comes in how they approach their process, right? On how they approach their process. So if I use entry point and CMD, the CMD will take precedence. If I use, which is taking precedence because it is the last instruction. It is the last instruction. Now, if I interchange their position, I bring CMD here, I bring entry as the last instruction. Entry point will override, will take precedence because it is the last instruction. So escape, save and quit. So Docker build. Docker build -t Apache. Apache within IMG version 1 dot. Like I said, you can't use both entry points and CMD in the same Docker file. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make what? It doesn't make sense. Okay, great. So far, so good, guys. I think that this is about introduction to Dockerfile instruction. That's just the instruction. We've not started implementing things, though in the process we've been playing around, but this thing we've been doing just to play around. We've not built something real, all right? Something that we can say we are serious about this thing now, all right? So we're going to look at building something real, okay? For that purpose, I'm coming. Okay. Now, guys, before we go into building something very real, is there any question? I'd love to accommodate questions. Is there any question before we go ahead? All right, since there's no question, let's fire down so that we can do something very tangible. Great. Now, you remember in our Linux class, somewhere around here, web server administration. So in web server administration, we did something, all right? We created an Apache server, all right, on our base virtual machine. We deployed a sample HTML, CSS web application, and we saw everything. This was on a standalone machine, which is a virtual machine. But now, what if you have been asked in your workplace, please Dockerize this code? This is how it will happen. Let me go to Google. Let me go to Google. Sample HTML CSS projects. Let's look for the one that we used last time, or something similar. Sorry, GitHub. I need GitHub. GitHub. Sample simple HTML CSS projects. GitHub. Let's look for this. Let's try this as well. Let's try this. One page website projects. Any stream. That e-commerce. I love that e-commerce site. Okay, this is the e-commerce site, guys. Here's the e-commerce site. I want to use this guy. So, guys, I want to build this guy. I want to containerize. I want to Dockerize. This is your code. Guys, we don't start containerization. This is your code, and you've been tasked to what? To containerize this guy. All right? But you're just learning how to containerize with Docker. But when we shall get to Kubernetes, the approach is different on Kubernetes. All right? The approach is completely different. But when we get there, you're going to feel it, guys. You're going to feel it. All right? You're going to feel the beauty of DevOps. All right? And again, guys, I'm pleading, please, you have to be practicing, right, to get these things as they are coming, right? And that's the only way you can surmount, you can conquer. Okay, now we want to build this application. We want to Dockerize it as a container. So this is what I will do. Okay, simple. So I'm going to create a Docker file. All right. Let's create a new Docker file. Let me call it df. Just df. Open. I'm going to build this application based on Apache. So I'll say from HTTPD. So give me what? Latest. My working directory, work dir will be /app. I could say my app / my app, my dash app. Anything you want to give it is your concern. All right. Now, I need this code. All right. So I need this code. So this is what I would do. This is what I would do. Since I need this code, all right, I could download everything to my base machine. Watch, guys. Or I could, if I want to build everything inside of the image, it's going to increase the size of the image. All right. It's going to increase the size of the image. But what should we do? Okay, great. Now, watch out, guys. They come. Perfect. Now, let me escape, save and quit. Docker PS. I need to kill this container. Docker what in rm apache con -f. Done. I have my Docker file, df. So if I say docker build -t df img dot, who is he using? Oh. Sorry, guys. I don't need this. I'm terminating. So I didn't specify the Docker file. Look at now. So I need to specify the Docker file. So I'll use what? -f flag. All right. The Docker file is what? df. It's in this directory. All right. So the image name will be df img. Right. So I have built this image. So if I say Docker images, hey, Gwele. I wanted to teach us something about image pruning. If you remember, we wanted to prune our images, but we could not. We had to leave it. That was when we started Docker. So, as you can see in my environment, I have a lot of unused images. Images that do not have a name. They are called dangling images. Remember, guys, dangling. So dangling images, these are images that don't have a repository or a name. Now, you can see these guys are eating up a lot of spaces, a lot of spaces. And dangling images are created when you are creating Docker files. When you're using Dockerfile concepts, you keep creating dangling images, right? So we need to delete all these images at once without tampering with our latest image, with our original images. You can see. So what I would do, I'll say what? Docker image prune. That is the command. So if I hit enter, it's going to warn me, ask me a question. Warning, this will remove all dangling images. Are you sure you want to continue? I'll say yes. I want to continue. Enter. So it has deleted everything and it has reclaimed 890 megabytes of space. So if I now do Docker images now, you see that all those guys have gone, but these two guys, they are tied somewhere. Now let's check container Docker PS -a. We also have these guys as well. So I think they are tied to these dangling images. All right, so let's delete them as well. So I'll just say Docker rm -f dollar bracket open. Okay, add your queue. So this will delete all those guys. It's gone. Now let's now check the containers. They are all gone, right? Now let's check our Docker images. This guy is none. Now, finally use that your Docker prompt now. Docker image prompt. Say yes. It has deleted everything now. It has reclaimed an additional 117 watts megabyte. Now let's check Docker images. You can see we are free now. Okay, we've cleared everything, right? The ones that were remaining were based on the container. All right, they were used to create container. Now we have created this image, but we need to create a container out of the image. So I'll say what? Docker run -d dash name is dfcon. I'm going to expose the port now. We are building professionally now. So I'll expose port forwarding. Okay, let me do it differently now. 1990 column 80. Now, because this is a web application runs on HTTP, and HTTP uses port 80. So I'm mapping my internal ports towards external ports. Externally, this is the port number via which I'm going to access my application, 1990. All right, followed by the image name. The image name is dfimg. This container has been created. So if I say docker ps, this guy is running. It's based on what? Apache. So I'll copy my public IP. I'll take my public IP, come to instances. Oh, network. All right, let's go to our instance. So I'll come to my instance. Why is it taking time now? Here's the instance. Collect the public IP. Now go to my browser and paste it. This guy will not open. It's not open because there's a port forwarding. This application is listening on port 1990. All right, it is mapped. Externally, you can access this application on port 1990. Internally, it can be accessed on what? Port 80. That is the meaning of this guy. Now I'll come here now. I'll now fashion it with column 1990. So I want to access that application on what? Port 1990. Because that is the port number that is being mapped internal to the internal port number. All right, great. So now we have that Apache is working. So let's go and find where this thing is coming from inside of the container. All right, so this is what I will do. I will do a docker exec -it, the container name dfcon bash. Do you see the working directory that we created? That's it. We don't have anything. The working directory is empty. So when we started, not about when we started, when you run Apache web server creates it by default, creates a directory called www/var. So it's going to create a directory called www/html. Or in short, it's going to create a /www directory under what? /var. All right. Now all your web files will be placed under what? www directory that is under what? /var. Now we need to go into this directory inside of this container because we are using Apache already. So this directory will be there by default. So if I say cd into, change directory into /var. Now let's check if that guy is there. Do we have www? www is not here. It's actually not here. So where is this content coming from? Bam, 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 bam. So it works. So I'm gonna find this content. It works in all of the files. How do I do that now? Which that okay, you did somewhere. There's another folder we need to check. Change directory, user share. Let's check what's under user share. User share doc. Right? User share, I'm coming on. Yes, user share doc. Change directory into doc. Oh, user share doc. Do we have, let's check if we can find index.html in this file. Oh, index.html. Let's check. Vim, the suppose this somewhere. Suppose the user share host name. No. All right, let me user share. Let's check again. That content is coming from somewhere. Dictionary. Okay, let me find the file called index.html. So to find a file, I'll say find in root. The type is a file. The name is index.html. So I want to find this file and the location of that file. Saying permission denied. Oh, this is where it is. User local Apache 2 htdocs index.html. Thank you, guys. So you can see we've used our knowledge of Linux to look for this file, right? So this file will be under local. So change directory into what? Local Apache 2 htdocs. Thank you. So let's check. Under htdocs, we have what? Index.html. Now, what is inside of this index.html? Let's check. I'm going to cut it. You will see it will show what? It works. So it means that this guy is coming from this place. The content of this thing that this website is displaying is coming from where? It's coming from this file. This is the location, pwd, user local Apache 2 htdocs. All right. So we are going to replace this file with our own file. We are going to replace this file with our own file. But then let's copy this location. Copy this location. Copy. Now I'm going to exit this container. Then I'll go into my Docker file. This is my Docker file. All right. Let's keep it somewhere so I can remember. What do we need to do now? Now, the next thing we need to do now is we need to install Git, run apt updates, and apt upgrade -y. The next command will be apt install git -y. All right. So now, okay, I'm doing it one way. There's another way I will try to do it. Now, we are going to do a git clone, right? So if I do a git clone, all right, a git clone will clone. Let's see what the git clone will do. So I'll say what? Run git clone. Now I'll go to my code. This is my code, right? This is my code. I'll come to code. This is my repository, sorry. I'll copy this command https. I'll come over to my what's it called? My Docker file. So I'll paste it. So I'm cloning this guy. So the directory is going to be e-commerce-website-html-css. So I'll clone this guy. This guy will be in my working directory. So after cloning this guy, I need to copy the entire content. So I'll say what? Run copy. No, change directory first. I'll say cd into this folder, because this guy is going to create this folder for me. Copy and paste. cd into this guy and copy recursively. Copy recursively everything that is inside of this folder towards to this directory. So it's going to copy everything that is inside here into what? Into my what? htdocs. So at the end of the day, it's going to replace the index of the HTML file that is already displaying this guy. That's already displaying this guy. This it works. It's going to replace it with our own file. So I think we are good to go now. I think with this now, we are all set. Let's run this, let's create this image and create a container out of it. So escape, save and quit. So let me remove the other container, dfcon. Done. Now let's build it. Docker build dash t dfimg. The file is df dot. So watch out, guys. So it's doing an update and is also doing an upgrade. It's installing git, and so it's now doing a git clone, cloning into this guy. It was cloned. So now we're having an error. What was it saying? cd into this guy and copy. cp, all right, missing destination file operand after destination file. Okay, let me go back into now again. Destination file. Let me put a slash here. Okay. Let's try to build it again. Docker build. Missing destination file operand. Operand after this. Okay. So copy everything. Copy everything, asterisk. We are copying everything that is in here. Okay, guys. Okay, I know what's happening. Okay, copy everything recursively, all right, into this guy. So my source is everything. Let's try it one more time. All right, so that is successful. So we have successfully copied everything that is inside of this guy recursively into what? The destination. Now, let us create an image. So let's create a container now. Let's run a container. Let's just recall this 347. Recall 347, because it's the same thing. Great. Now, Docker PS. This guy is running now, port 1990. So let me refresh. Before I refresh, let's go and check. Let's do Docker exec. Docker exec is 349, column 349. All right. This is what I'm running, 349. All right. I'm inside of the container now. So let's check. So you can see I have this directory. So in my Docker file, I changed that directory. Now inside of this directory, I copied everything into where? Into, let's list it, into /user/local, local, then what? Remind me, guys. Local, then guys, and don't forget. And don't forget to Apache. Apache, then
htdocs.
htdocs. htdocs. Let's check. So you can see all those content now, they are now in what? htdocs. So if I come here now and refresh this website, let's see what will happen. So you see, we now have our containerized application. We have successfully containerized, we have successfully run this code that this guy developed as a container. You can see that stuff now, that code is running as a container, as a Docker container. You see how pretty beautiful this thing is. Very beautiful. All right. Check out now. You can see. So let me exit Docker PS. So everything is working as fine. So I'm not running this guy on my what? On my base machine. I'm running it as a container. Docker images. I created an image. From that image, I created a Docker file. From the Docker file, I created the image. I built an image. From the image, I use the image to create a container. So currently, this guy is running what? Out of what? Container. Right? It's running what? Out of container. So you just see the beauty of using what? Containers. So guys, I still owe us because we would we would create Docker containers, right, based on what's it called? Based on other technologies like especially the JavaScript, the JavaScript framework, like the Node.js, React.js, and the AngularJS, right? Then we'll also look at Java, building Java containers. So in our next class, I want to stop there, okay? Okay, this is one way. I'm coming, guys. This is one way of creating this Docker file. Look at this Docker file, df. This is one way, right? So I'm going to comment out everything. See you. I'm going to show us another way. The next way will be, okay, let me comment out everything. Let me comment out everything. I'll use what I want to use. So still, I'm using the same image. I'm using the same image. So I'll define my work directory, work dir. Let me call it /app. Then I need to run apt updates and apt upgrade. So what else I need to do now? So I think that's all. So I need to use a copy everything from my local machine into my container. So into the container will be everything would now be inside of what? Slash my working directory, which is /app. All right. Then once everything has been copied from my base machine into the image, then I'll now do what? I will copy. I'll now say run cp, copy everything, right, recursively into this location. Simple, guys. Into that location. Now I'll escape, save and quit. But then we need to, all right. So I'll create a directory, mkdir. I'll call it ecom. Now I'll go into that ecom, change to ecom. All right. Now I'll do a git clone of that application. So right, I'll come over here. Let me close this guy. Come over here. I'll copy my code. Copy your code. I'll come to my terminal. I'll say what? Git clone. and paste it, enter. So it's cloning what this application from GitHub. Now let's check. So I need to copy everything here, all right, into this directory, all right. So I'll copy recursively everything inside of what this directory, all right. I'm copying everything asterisk into the current directory dot. Now if I do ls, I have that guy, right? So I have everything here now. So I'll remove this directory because I don't need this directory, all right. Or I could use my git what I could use my git ignore. Thank you. So let's build with git ignore. So I'm going to cat or echo this e-commerce into where? Into docker ignore. So if I check the content of docker ignore, I should have this directory mentioned. That I don't want this directory to be copied into what? Into the image. I think we are done, guys. But we don't have our Docker file here. So I'll copy the Docker file, df, from the previous directory into this current directory, ecom. So you can see I have my what? Docker file now. So now I can now say docker build -t. I can call it a df img new. All right. df img. I can say df img version 2. Okay. Dot. So my Docker file is a different name because if I run it like that, I will have an error. So I have to specify the file. The file is what? df. Enter. So let's see what happens. Copy. It was successful. Now let's now create a container. So I'll say what? Docker run -d --name df df my god df v1 con. One sec, guys. df v1 con. Then the ports, I'm going to expose it on ports 8080:80. Then the image name is df img version 1, right? I think that's it. Enter. Is it version 1?
Yes,
No, it's not version 1. No.
I think it's version 2.
Version 2. Version 2. So this container has been created. So it's up and running, and it's running on port what? 8080. So let's go and check it, guys. So same public IP address. Copy this, copy everything. Now open a new tab. Okay, I can just come here. If I hit enter, it will not go. Then I need to specify the port number, column 8080. So you can see our application is running. So this is another different method. Let's check the Docker file again. Let's check that DF file. You can see this is a different method entirely, right? In this method, I have to what? I have to download, I have to do a git clone. Then I perform my operation. So guys, you have to play with this thing back and forth. Look at the different implementation, different instruction, the different how to manipulate the different instructions, right? Then you can be very, very comfortable with what? With Docker. You have to be a Docker champion, guys. All right. You have to play with Docker to the extent that when you sleep, what you'll be seeing in your dream is Docker. All right. So that's it, guys. We're going to be ending there for today. All right. So this is, I'll say, I'll call it introduction to Docker, Dockerfile, okay, Dockerfile, um, Dockerfile proper. Okay. I will say Dockerfile proper or introduction to Dockerfile part 2. Okay. So guys, any query before we call it today?
Boss,
Yeah, man.
in this second method you did was I think you didn't specify the source where you get in you get those HTMLs, yeah, and CSS from. You just run it. You assume that it already downloaded into the directory.
Now, see now. But you remember when I
Okay.
did a Git clone?
Yeah.
I did a Git clone
Yeah.
and it cloned what? This guy.
Okay.
So
I
all of
got
these
it.
guys are coming from this guy. So I now copy recursively everything into the current directory, into this current ecom directory. PWD. I see now. Into this current. So now I have what? All of these files. Now, if you look very well in my Docker file, there's an instruction to copy. Copy waiting. Copy everything
It's
inside
in
the
the
current
directory.
directory
Yeah,
into where? My working directory.
got it.
That's the meaning of that dot and dot. Is it clear?
Yeah, very clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question, guys? So if there's no question, I'd love to call it a day. All right. Then see you guys on Friday. I pray I have energy on Friday by God's grace. See you guys on Friday. And we are going to take it up from there. All right. Take it up from there. No wala, man. Not too much. Not too much. Stop recording.